I hope you have that too in your place. Where are you joining from? The information we will be sharing today is provided as is, with a personal point of view and One-Click Factory's point of view on top. This information is for you to be used within your organizations and to improve and accelerate your businesses. Few words about One-Click Factory. One-Click Factory is providing services in the area of the Microsoft business applications. We have professional services, like technical professional services in the area of upgrades, development, transformation, or support area. As well, we help partners with a CSP licensing and business development questions. My name is Agne. I'm running strategic initiatives at One-Click Factory and had the opportunity to meet a number of partners in previous years and help them on their journey to move their solutions towards the cloud and package them into repeatable offerings. And I'm here to share those points of view with you today. On a personal note, I really like to stay outdoors. And I really like hiking and have a dream to cross the Swiss Alps at some point in time. The other of my passions is fine dining experiences. And I believe that is one of those experiences that we are still left in rather constrained COVID environment today. And the last but not least of my passions is related to the business development. Packaging, pricing, sales process, reaching the customer and designing their journeys. So let me get to know you who are in the call today with me. Augusta, may I ask you to release the first poll on, what the weekend is not that long from us, right? And if you would go outdoors, right, and outside of the Microsoft world, what would you choose to do throughout the weekend? I see that, hiking is quite on top of the list with our participants today. That's great. And by the way, to see the overall results on the top row, you could see something like the Microsoft Forms pictogram, and there you could open polls tab and see where we are and how we are distributing rather nicely on a number of the activities. But of course, chilling, grilling, and sunbathing is collecting the majority of our votes. And thank you very much for that. And from the professional point of view, today we are discussing the AppSource. So Augusta, maybe you could pull out the second poll on our role that we are bringing to the call today. So, and as we are discussing the applications and business applications, what role are you joining with our call? I see that as well we have rather nice distribution between the business development, sales and marketing, and the development roles within the team. So that is great to have all of you on board. Excellent. This presentation will be more covering, the conceptual business development areas rather than the, app development concepts as such. But I hope that you'll find some of the insights throughout the session as well. So few things on the housekeeping activities. As you see, this session is being recorded, and if you'd like to receive a recording, please shoot an email to ce@oneclickfactory.com. You are more than welcome to use the chat to share your opinion, to ask a question, or to share your remark, to like or dislike things I'm saying, and to no, to add your and share your point of view. And as well, I would like to make this session interactive so that the upcoming hour and a half would be enjoyable as well. And I believe different points of views help to achieve that. So may I ask for a raise of hands who are planning to stay in the session and whom I could reach out or call out for an opinion or to share an experience. Okay, so I see quite some of the hands raised. Excellent. So Zygmunt, Vitali, and then there were two more raised hands, but I missed to note names. Žilvinas, excellent, and Algirdas. Excellent. Oh, so I'm not alone here. That's great. So if we dive into the topic, right, and the key idea of the topic today is that I do believe that in this picture, the ocean and fish within that ocean is in reality the market that we are serving and the customers that are coming to get to know us, right? When we are looking into the golden coins, I assume that each of the golden coins is the solution that we are about to deliver to our customers. And all of those golden coins are all within the, I forgot the name, the box, yeah, and I would say, and that is, you know, one of the motions how we can deliver those solutions. And this is one of the motions that we'll discuss later today, the AppSource motion, right? Where all of those golden coins are collected in one place that we can utilize. So what shall we have in the agenda? First of all, we'll discuss intellectual property topic and walk through the key questions to consider when thinking about putting anything onto the AppSource, right? And then we will dive into the real aspects of the publishing app onto the AppSource. We'll work through the actual steps and discuss the requirements. So what exactly is there when we are publishing an app on the AppSource or consultancy service on the AppSource? I believe we'll have time for questions and answers. So feel free to drop those in a chat. At the end of each topic, I'll check the chat and answer these. And at the end, we'll have time for an open discussion. So let us dive into the intellectual property. And here I'll ask as well, Augusta, to put the poll on the intellectual property. So how do you see intellectual property within your organization currently? Or in other words, I could say, how do you see and how do you develop intellectual property and manage intellectual property within your organization? And if we check the results, I see that majority of us have some of the processes in place to manage intellectual property. You know, some of us are with a strategy and portfolio with the initiatives that we are managing. And, you know, there are few of us where we do have a very unpredictable process and reactive approach, and few of us where we are very, very optimized. So that is as well, I'm super happy that we have some thoughts in relation to the intellectual property. So when we are thinking about the intellectual property, we are of course having a big picture in mind of that we are about to make money selling the cloud. And of course, the packaged intellectual property is only one of the ways to make money in selling the cloud. There is an option of reselling, there is an option of the project services and the managed services as well, in addition to the packaged intellectual property. And if we take a look into the IDC study back in 2006, I think that was released. At that point in time, they evaluated over 1,000 partners, and they identified that within the area of the resale, gross profit by activity is somewhere within 15%. The professional services gross profit is somewhere around 35%, managed services around 45%, and packaged IP in some of the cases could be 70% or even above. So in reality, packaged IP is one of the ways to increase our gross profit. There are some of the studies performed later on, but in reality, distribution of the gross profit by activity is not changing dramatically. As well, when we are thinking about the intellectual property, I think that is, one of the best and, most efficient ways to bring our offering to market, to increase the margins, and to differentiate ourselves from the rest of the partner channel towards our customers. Equally, when we are, sorry, slide was not changing. Yeah, equally, when we are thinking about the packaged intellectual property, we always we can think about the managed services as well, right? And we could say that both of those that are packaged offerings, right, are the differentiators in the market. Because they identify areas of the customer pain that can be addressed with a repeatable process, methodology, and products, right? So therefore, we could elevate that customer discussion beyond price and provide the higher margin scenarios. Where I would say that the packaged IP is usually when we are thinking about, one-time implementation or one-time software or one-time something that we extend throughout the subscription in the future if we choose so. And when we are talking about the managed services, in reality, our value that we are providing towards our customers is within our operating procedures, right? So if we have a competency in one area, we could definitely reuse that competency in the other area as well. So, few things to consider when developing intellectual property. Of course, when partners, are asked how they usually determine what intellectual property to build, the answers are largely the same. Most of the customers were asking for the same thing or something very similar, and then rather than continuing to do, custom work for every customer, partners saw an opportunity to productize, so that they brought together sales, marketing, technical, and delivery teams to define that solution. But it is not only about the defining a solution, right? It is as well, how we will differentiate from the others in the market with our solution. Oh, I see someone would like to contribute. No, maybe that was a challenge with muting or unmuting ourselves.
Sorry, Agne. Video is stopped. Video stopped. I don't see nothing. Black.
Oh,
black
everything is black. Everyone else as well?
No, it's Fine. Anyone else?
No, we can see. We can see.
Maybe if you would relaunch, rejoin the meeting.
Okay, I hope these technical issues we would solve. I would really like to get those old times back when we could meet in a conference room somewhere, right? Have a session and then break out and go for the lunch or go out for the dinner and have a socialization, and we would have no technological challenges in connecting, with each other. But unfortunately, we are where we are. That adds a bit of the efficiencies because we can jump from one meeting to another. And at the same time, it adds certain social distance that saves us from the COVID, hopefully, right? Okay, so let us get back to the intellectual property development. So, of course, we determine how we differentiate, we market the solution, we maintain rights to the solution that we developed, and of course, we find how we can establish a recurring revenue models, consider whether we are selling it via the channels or directly, and as well consider, how will we have that IP, whether we are reusing some of the competencies that we already have and continue building, with an in-house resources, but as well there is an opportunity for the merger and acquisition of the partnership for the usage of the IP that was already delivered. But one thing I'd say that if you are on the journey of developing that intellectual property, either already now or in the future, is to maintain rights to the intellectual property as such, within your agreements with customers, so that you continue to be the owner of the intellectual property that you develop. You do not hand that over to the customers, but rather you hand out to the customer an extensive license to use, to modify, or whatever. What are you implementing customers as a custom solution development work? And this is, I would say, this is a thing to maybe, if one thing to think and to fix after this call, if this is not yet fixed within your customer agreements, I would say that is a key thing to look into. And you could, in the agreements, you could have the first statement is that intellectual property rights are with you, and then the other statement that you could add to your legal agreements is that the knowledge, the general knowledge, understanding of the concepts or something that is acquired throughout the project with your customer is as well remains with you, and you could reuse that to further develop solution services and improve overall services to your customers, right? And then, from that perspective, some of us, of course, we are having rather extensive disciplines on the intellectual property development and the management of it. But in case you are somewhere at a point where you are looking for an additional ideas on what intellectual property you could develop further on, or where you could focus, I would encourage you to read through the audit questions, right, and to answer yourself whether that is an area that we have potential to develop repeatable intellectual property, or whether we have a process in place so that we spot and we track these areas so that we later on could package, reuse those, and build intellectual property. And here I'll pause for 2 minutes so that you could read through the list. And here I would just say that when we are thinking about the intellectual property, right, it can be limited to a simple template, a dashboard or report. You know, it can be something like a few lines of code that automate a critical business process, workflow, or function. And as well, we could package something like a quarterly optimization to audit certain measures or look into the key performance indicators. You know, and if we would add certain knowledge and competency, that is all that we could package into the intellectual property that customers could potentially gain value out of. And with that, let us move forward to the topic of the AppSource. And I'll check if we have questions, and we'll ask Augusta to get the next poll with us. I see no questions in the chat. And the poll coming, right? So the first question is related our research and development investment, right? So how much do you invest in the research and development within your organization? Let me check the answers that are coming in. And I see that half of us are not tracking this data, but the ones that are tracking are either investing within the 5 to 10% or even above 10%. So I would encourage the ones that are not tracking this data to start tracking and to start looking into it, because if we do have a professional service organizations, and we do have hours, right, that we monetize on. So if you understand what part of your hours are getting into the research and development versus being delivered as a professional services towards your customers, right? That is as well an opportunity to then later look into what exactly we are trying to achieve. Are we allocating enough time to achieve our goals, and then to build strategy and optimize around that. So I would encourage to start tracking that data very much. And congratulations to the ones who answered above 10%. That is definitely a much more than the industry threshold above the 10%. 10% is something like a threshold. 10-12% is assumed to be a rather significant investment from the organization side. And then the next question is related to the AppSource, and maybe Augusta could get a question on the AppSource as well. So what is your experience with the Microsoft AppSource, right? Are you in the early considerations, or you have solutions on the AppSource already? And here, if we look into poll results, I see that over half of us are in the early consideration stage, but some of us are in the progress to get the first offering to the AppSource, and over 20% is on the AppSource already. So that's great. And Augusta, the last of the polls, please. So this question is to the ones that are on the AppSource already, right? How do you how do you see the AppSource? Are you happy about it, or are you not happy about it, and why? And I see that we feel good because AppSource is a source of leads. It helps with the development, but as well we have some of the feedback related that, well, there is not enough leads, or yeah, there is not enough leads. Oh, so we have a nice distribution. 30% goes to we are happy with leads. 30% goes we are not happy with leads. So definitely there is something around the leads and the AppSource, right? And then we do have majority of the answers that the AppSource helps with the deployment, and only few answers that it is challenging to keep up with the updates. Good. Thank you very much for sharing your opinion. Key questions to consider when we are thinking about the AppSource. So first of all, we know that Microsoft has several commerce marketplaces, you know, AppSource and Azure Marketplace. So which one to look for, right? And of course, the AppSource is the destination for the business apps. So for this conversation that we are having now, it is the AppSource to consider. Azure Marketplace is if you are, if you are providing certain services for the IT of the developers utilizing Microsoft Azure as such. What is the promise of the AppSource? Just like we've seen in the recent results, there is a promise of a marketplace as an AppSource, right? And we could have different expectations. What is the marketplace? But definitely, marketplace, we believe, should broaden our reach, right, towards the potential customers. I would say that the Microsoft AppSource is for a very qualified potential customers. It is not the the only marketplace that you can think about and then continue get solutions onto the AppSource and expect that things will continue the way the best way possible, right? Because it is not only it of course adds visibility, it of course adds a quality mark, because your solution or service was qualified by the Microsoft qualification and validation process as such, right? Definitely there it is, but we can't rely only on the Microsoft AppSource as the only channel to get leads and to sell our solutions. I would say, as I look into the Microsoft AppSource, right, this is first of all our statement, right, that we are supporting, we as an organization, we are cloud ready, we are validated, we are the right partner for our customers to move forward with the business applications. So that is, first of all, that kind of the statement. And the second of all, I truly believe in the real value that the AppSource is providing, the value of the deployment, the value of the distribution of your app updates towards your customers. It is much, much, much easier, and when we are using the AppSource as an engine to perform these, our software maintenance activities. Of course, it has a drawback of the platform maintenance that we have to keep up with. So when we are looking into the into the players related to the AppSource. Of course, we do have maybe not only the AppSource, but the overall ecosystem of the Microsoft Cloud business applications as such, right? So, of course, first of all, the big player is the Microsoft, who is providing the platform, the products, the availability, the maintenance, right? So that is the Microsoft. Microsoft is responsible for backing up the data, etc. Then we have two squares that are partner related, right? So there is partner, a solution provider that is available on the AppSource, and there could be a partner, that is providing license and support for the customer, right? So the partner that is providing support to the customer is holding the responsibility of the setups, rights, extensions, what customer could do with the application that they access. And of course, there is a customer in the picture, right? The customer is responsible for what customer is doing, data input, jobs that they are running. In a number of cases, we see that the same organization, the partner, there are not two partners, but rather one partner who is providing the solution and serving customers with the solution. And we see scenarios where the partner is providing the solution only, right? And then, the other partner is serving the customer with those solutions. But whatever understanding we do have for the AppSource, my advice would be to put it down in writing. What are your primary reasons for going to the AppSource? Is it everyone is in the AppSource? Is it because that's a new beast and you would like to learn more about it? Is it because you would like to find new customers and, you would expect that the AppSource would provide you a bunch of leads for the new customers? That's not the right intention, Maybe you are looking for a quality statement. Maybe you would like to be visible with your strategy and, make a statement towards the Microsofts. Would you like to use your distribution, deployment, and updates practice? Or maybe that is just a natural part of your cloud strategy that you are having, right? But I will pause now for a minute, and I will ask you to put it down in writing. And maybe you could share that in the chat too. No one is typing, so I'll call on to Algirdas. So Algirdas, what would be your reasoning? Why to go to the AppSource? Yes, we can hear you.
I'm not one.
Somehow sound is rather poor. But if I hear you correctly, Algirdas, you are saying that you would not share the opinion, right?
I'm not have this opinion very clearly stated.
Okay, not yet, right? Mm-hmm. I hope that maybe after this call and maybe after a few discussions that you will have with your team later on, you will have an opinion on if you want to go, and if you want to go, why do you want to move towards the AppSource? Thank you very much for sharing. So another element that we have to consider when looking into the AppSource is, of course, our sales strategy, right? Whether that sales strategy, right? When we are thinking could be, we are selling directly to our customers, or we are building a channel of the resellers who would bring the solution to the customers, right? And where are those customers located? Are we serving, worldwide geography, or are we serving the geography that is near to us, right? So we need to think about the strategy. So, for example, Tushuntuya shared that one of the strategies is to extend market and to engage global customers, right? When thinking about the AppSource, so definitely geography piece, is global here. But one or the other could think about how to further out build a sales strategy. Of course, to build a partner channel requires certain additional preparation and certain additional work related to that channel, not just your direct sales force that you could have. So, but this is definitely a question to think about when and to consider and to have an answer before making certain activities or steps towards the AppSource. Another element that we can look into is the marketing strategy, right? Are we counting on AppSource only, or do we have our own strategy in place? And are we thinking about for example, the microsite? That would be a suggestion from my side to think about. Let me share the link to this material on the best practices guide on how you could build your presence, right, with a marketing channel within the AppSource, leveraging your own organization's website and other go-to-market activities. But this is definitely the way to think about the marketing strategy that you will apply. And as well, at the same time, when we are thinking about the marketing strategy, right, there is an element of the value, but as well the purchase, and the pricing. And the big thing is sometimes disclosing or not disclosing the price of the solution, right? So I would say that if we are moving towards the cloud approach, and if we expect the cloud customer journey, to build the cloud customer journey, then we would definitely need to think about how to make those customers to sign up with your organization and allocate 5 seconds to do that, and how could we wow them in the 5 minutes as they are with our organization, right? And when we are thinking about the cloud customer journey, and that is of course a choice to us, not necessarily AppSource means that now you are suddenly moving into the totally digital experience for your customers, where they will start engaging with you without having any personal interaction with any of your professional team. Not necessarily, but this is a question whether you would like to build a cloud customer journey as much digital as possible, or you would like to add, the AppSource element without that digital cloud customer journey, and to only satisfy the very, very basic elements of it, meaning that someone can you know, understand what is the offering on the AppSource about, you know, and when they get the offering, you know, in front of them, meaning, you know, trying the app, for example, on the AppSource, right, playing around with it. We'll later discuss that there is a requirement, you know, to provide a free trial experience. But at the point of time when someone is having that free trial experience, so that the first 5 minutes within the trial experience are really good, and they would like to dive deeper into your app, into engagement with you as an organization, right? And, you know, there is a Microsoft Publisher Agreement. So, no, not that I'm super fond of the legal documents as such, but I would recommend you to allocate at least half an hour and scroll through the Microsoft Publisher Agreement to understand, you know, what are the terms within the Microsoft Publisher Agreement that you are required to comply. So there is not, you know, no a super duper hidden terms in there. Microsoft is not taking over your intellectual property or so, but they are requiring to comply with any platform updates that they will release in the future. And now we are getting to that free trial period and trial experience, right? So one of the areas is that you know, free trial options that you have on the app, and the other option is get it now. This means in reality app is free of charge, right? And of course there are options, theoretical options of the contact me. You know, Microsoft would like to limit that very much. So unless you have a very good friends with Microsoft, you might get a contact me option for your offering for a restricted period of time. And as well, there is an option to provide a test drive where we are talking about totally separate environment for the customer to test drive your solution and your application. If you are to add a super complex solution onto the AppSource, then test drive might be a relevant option to look into, but definitely not as a first option to look into. So what this free trial period and trial experience means, right? This means that we are required as the app publisher to provide a 30 days trial for full or limited functionality. And, you know, it is up to us. What are we here to provide? You know, limiting functionality is effort on our side. But definitely what we need to do is to make sure that we build in our offering some of the way to check whether the one that is using the app is authorized to use the app. You know, so how we protect our intellectual property of the app from unauthorized use, meaning that someone is not paying monthly fees, but anyway using the app as such. And there are different ways to do that. The easiest way is to have somewhere, you know, a potential list of you know, tenants where a solution is installed, and on your app to have an experience where they sign up, for example, for a video. They provide details to access, for example, customer portal or something else, so that you can connect those two, right? And understand where that specific tenant from the tenant configuration is on their purchase journey, so that once in a while you could provide the information within an app that you have to extend your experience, you have to sign up for an agreement, or that you can't access the app because you haven't signed the contract with us, right? And then, you know, we do have a topic of the pricing, right? So when we are building the app and getting the app onto the AppSource, right? We sometimes need to think up front on how we are planning to price that app. So, you know, perpetual option is that customer pays once and has the right to use the product forever, right? I'd say that this is rather old days, and most probably no longer even expected within our situation. Though sometimes there could be that app is providing a value of, for example, integrating, moving data, or performing one-time activity for the customer to get live, right? So if that is the case, then maybe perpetual option is still valid. You could think about the consumption model, you know, but then in reality you have to track how someone is consuming that app, right? And so that you could that usage or consumption information collect and then later on use in your billing process. And that is, of course, a piece that you have to build yourself within the capabilities of the app. There could be, you know, tie adoption, where customer pays based on the, you know, level tie or, you know, certain criteria of more, less functionality, more or less users, size of company, or anything like that. And then as well, you need to build those capabilities within your app, whether, you know, you would like to limit or extend functionalities, and whether you would like to have the single app to cover all of those pricing scenarios. And I say, you know, thinking about those pricing scenarios and thinking about, you know, options to upsell the higher, you know, service package or software package to your customer is as well important, because then you need to track the data and you need to think how you would like to implement that. And last but not least is freemium option of an app, right? Or the offering. And I do honestly like freemium models very much, because I think that this enables us an opportunity to have a relationship with that potential customer and to upsell them later on. And that freemium model, especially if we are having, you know, tied options, so maybe that is only one user. If that is one user, then you can use that freemium option of an app. Let's say it is a consumption, you know, model where we are counting some kind of the documents, and up to 5 documents per month. Maybe that is a freemium model, and you could continue to upsell other services and have the relationship with the customer that you are targeting here, right? So pricing and how we are to bring to market our solution is, of course, something to consider that will reflect in the offering that we will design, will build, and then will bring towards the AppSource. And of course, you know, we as a vendor of the app that we are bringing out, we are defining the license agreement and the privacy policy that Microsoft later on automatically introduces into the purchase flow of the customer, right? And in the privacy statement, the important thing is for us to identify what information will we collect, right? We earlier discussed about the pricing, about the access rights. So we I believe, would decide to collect some information from the usage of the app and where and how it is. So we need to define that, and of course the privacy statement identify, you know, the use of personal and confidential information, And security means that I believe we are within the general policies of the use of personal and confidential information as such. So, for example, right, we could define there that if we are collecting the data, we would be using it for delivering a service, right? We are collecting it because of that. And if we are to share the data publicly, we would share the data about the customers in the aggregated manner so that no one would be able to identify and to disclose, where and how that customer is experiencing things. And of course, there is a piece of terms of use as a licensing agreement on our side, where I believe you would like to add that you are non-liable to any, of non-your products. You would like to foresee the ordering, canceling, and automated renewal terms. How will you change prices, right? What are the invoicing and payment terms? What are the customer responsibilities when using the service? And what are the termination warranties as such? So when we are adding something to the AppSource, we of course have to keep up with the Power Platform release flow, right? So this means that currently we do have an updates on the Microsoft Power Platform releases for the future, and we need to follow those and to make sure that our solutions are not breaking accordingly with the monthly updates or sometimes even weekly updates that Microsoft is releasing. And for that is, of course, the application lifecycle management option that we need to implement and to have in place. And of course, I understand that these are the best practices. And some of us, we do have application lifecycle management within our organizations already. Some of us, we don't, right? But it is definitely, when thinking about the updates from the Microsoft, the releases of the updates from our side as well, taking the journey into the Microsoft AppSource definitely, asks the question on how will we manage the life cycle of the overall application. And there is in reality a really nice Microsoft collection of the advices on how to manage life cycle within the Power Platforms. And I'm sharing the link for that in the chat section. Right. So first thing is, how shall we comply with the updates that Microsoft will be releasing, and what practices we have in place. But then the other question is, who will pay for those updates, right? And here we are looking into the maintenance contract with our customers, that we could say that it is part of our monthly software as a service fees and monthly bill. We could have them separately with our customers, or we could charge them as a time and materials fees as well. But these are the things to consider, and these are the things to embed and to implement within the journey to the AppSource and bringing the repeatable solutions to the cloud. So as you've seen, we are building the app and the offering to bring value to our customers, first of all. But on top of that, we are building that to support the overall business model of ours that could be quite extensive. And getting to the AppSource is with the solution, it is not only about the development of the solution code, and building the AppSource page with a Microsoft, but it is, looking into the extensive picture on where we would like to take our business forward and what kind of offerings are we taking forward and how we operationalize for these and how do we organize sales and marketing activities for these. And with that, let me pause and check if we do have any of the questions in the chat.
Nothing so far.
Nothing so far. Okay. So let us move into the publishing on the AppSource, flow, right? So first of all, any publishing onto the AppSource is happening through the Microsoft Partner Network and Microsoft Partner Center, right? So there, in the Partner Center, we go to the commercial marketplace overview, and there is a black plus sign on the new offer. We press that and we choose Dynamics 365 for customer engagement and Power Apps from the list. Okay. The next things we are asked to do there is but in reality, whatever we are to bring onto the AppSource, right, that should be free of viruses, should have no offensive material, and be in line with the general business practices, right? That is important to know. But as soon as we are to bring and to build the new offering, we having a decision to make on the offer ID. And that decision on the offer ID, that is sometimes, called product name AB03CT, yeah, right? That will be part of the URL of your offering. So therefore, when creating an offering ID, please think about it to have some meaningful wording to at least you, or maybe to your customers as well. Yeah, so that is the first thing. But when you submit, then your submission goes, of course, through the series of automated and manual checks to ensure that it complies with the Microsoft certification policies. The validation team usually reviews your submission within 3 to 5 working days. And it is all depending, because when we are talking about the manual review, it all depends on the volume of submissions in the queue. But they are reviewing and providing the feedback. Either your submission is approved or you need to make changes and to resubmit. And if you make changes at any point after your submission is already certified and on the AppSource, you are continuing that certification and validation path once again, right? So, and you see on the screen that there are rather straightforward steps within that validation process. And at any point in time, where are you? Are you at the automated validation? So you will receive a feedback in, I would say, minutes. Are you at the certification? Are you at the preview? And or you are only having to sign off and to publish the thing that you are letting out. Whatever you get into publishment, right? It is not that Microsoft says it is okay to go and then you have no word in that overall process. No, Microsoft will confirm that you are good to go. Your solution is validated and confirmed to be good for the AppSource, and at that point in time, you are making decision to make it visible onto the AppSource. The other element, and now I'm sharing these screenshots from the partner center, right, on the information that that you are expected to provide with your option and the offering that you are about to publish. So you do see that that here we have an information related to the offer setup. You know, so first of all, what are the details of the setup, and how would we like to set up leads? And for the licensing options, right, we just like we discussed earlier, there is an option of the, you know, free option that customers could get your solution free of charge. There is a free trial option and contact me option. That is, I would say, only theoretical option because Microsoft is restricting that option. About the CRM integration. So standard AppSource lead is in reality the information that is customer providing. And you see the form on the screen, and that form, myself as a customer, right, I could change. Just like here in the name, I entered, please contact me, right, instead of my name, my original name, right? So, but this is the information that that lead could change, or that could be an information that lead is in reality providing. That lead information could land into one of the standard ways, you know, where you are integrating it in. That could be Azure Table, that could be Dynamics solution, that could be Salesforce, or any other option. But in reality, let me take an opportunity to remind how important lead management is. Because when we are joining that cloud, you know, cloud journey, this cloud journey is not only because of the AppSource, but it is in general where and how we are generating those leads. So we would like to make sure that we don't miss business opportunities that are coming in the format of leads. And first of all, we need to understand who reached out to us and to reach out back to them. And for that, we do need a process, right? We would like, first of all, to make sure that all leads are getting into our CRM system and that we are managing all of the leads within that one central location, right? As well, we need to have a rigorous manner on how we are qualifying the leads so that we have a prerequisites which indicate whether lead has been fully qualified and you know, that we could hand over it to the sales, because usually the salespeople are the ones that will help that lead follow through the sales channel. But if it turns out that the lead is not yet qualified, right, then that lead might be forgotten, or maybe the conversation is not floating as expected. And maybe if someone, you know, just pressed the button of trying out your app, right, is not yet the lead that has to be handed over to the sales. Maybe that is, you know, that lead has to see your demo. Maybe they need to take any other activity to see, let's say, the pricing, and then after that, you know, be handed over to your sales organization. And even though we are talking about the cloud world and that you know, customers are purchasing instantly because they already did the due diligence of your solution before. Anyway, we would have to follow up with them. You know, there are really rare cases where a customer is making one connection, and that connection is to sign an agreement. In majority of the cases, we might require 5 to 12 follow-up activities. Some of them, they could be automated, some of them they could be manual and personal, you know, until we have the customer signed up for the work with us. And last but not least, within the lead management is the nurture, right? So this is a significant requirement for anyone who was at least once interested into your offering services, had an opinion, to be somewhere in the ball of the nurture, so that there are cycles of reminder that they might be interested, and when they are interested, so that the sales organization could take over and help them. Right. So that was my pitch on the lead management. That is, I believe, you are convinced, rather important. Okay, so then let us go back to the further publishing activities. So what will we have? We will have to provide the properties of our offering. So we would have to provide, you know, what are the categories, what are the industries, you know, what are the versions. And here, when we are talking about the versions, right, this is the place where the, you know, marketing, paper, and virtual world connects to software, right? So when we are talking about the app version that we are providing here, it has to comply with the version that is listed within the app, within the software itself. Right. Then, of course, we are looking into the offering listing as such. An offering listing is, in reality, what we see as a listing on the Microsoft AppSource page. So we have the name, you know, we have the description and the value proposition. We have some of the pictures and videos here. And of course, on the details, we have information. Who is the publisher? You know, what kind of the version is this solution about? You know, links to the licensing agreement and privacy policy, as well provide information for the support and the help. The difference is that one is providing information, how could customer reach out to you and escalate, and the other one, how, where customer could find the information on how to use the app, right? And any of the additional links, and those you know, additional links and what you have on your AppSource page, right? You would like to link somehow to your page, your own landing page for the offering that you are promoting here, right? So that you could see how the flow goes. And of course, there is an option of the tile that you do see over here, and you know, there is an information that we are providing within the tile as well. There is an option of the promotion of to be the recommended app. You know, Microsoft is not 100% you know, I would say defined on how they are distributing that, but once in a while they are setting out criteria, and partners can, you know, provide evidence and receive that badge of the recommended solution within the AppSource, right? Then, if we look further on, there is a piece that we need to provide information about the market availability, right? And how would you publish that offering? And of course, there is a piece related to the offer itself, the technical configuration, where you are providing the package, and where you could use the checker, right, to validate your code and to see whether it is complying with the you know, the requirements that Microsoft is setting out. Besides that, there is, of course, additional sales opportunities. So through the publishing of the offering, you can choose to opt into Microsoft supported marketing and sales channels, right? So when you are creating your offer in Partner Center, you know, and you choose and provide information in co-sell with the Microsoft, this option lets Microsoft sales team to consider your intellectual property as a co-sell eligible solution when evaluating their work with a customer's needs, right? And when we are thinking about that co-sell framework with Microsoft, there is, you know, one is the direct option for the customer to purchase a solution. You know, this is the Microsoft AppSource, Azure Marketplace, and of course, you know, the Microsoft websites. Then it is, you know, that the Microsoft Partner Channel, so that your offerings are within the distributor price list, and the Microsoft sellers. So there are pros and cons of joining Microsoft co-sell opportunity. I hear positive feedback of the you know, attention from the Microsoft when you join those programs, first of all, but then there is we need to understand that the Microsoft co-sell option is looking into the enterprise customers, and so it might be a relevant element when you are considering enterprise customers and you are really building an offering and planning to execute with a Microsoft co-sell team. On the other side, if you are not counting on the Microsoft co-sell motion as such, then whatever is being sold by the Microsoft co-sell or by your own sales channel, everything is applicable for the revenue share within the agreement. So please think about that, right? And then last but not least, when you are publishing the content, is the additional information that is usually a testing scenarios that are used to manually test your solution by the validation team. So with that, let me pause and check for questions.
Yes, we have one from Zygmunt.
Okay, the percent of the revenue split between the app creator and Microsoft AppSource. So there is the AppSource has no monetization mechanism currently. So the billing relationship is between the partner and the customer. Microsoft AppSource is only the delivery mechanism to reach the customer as such. So therefore, you as a partner, you have to implement all of those elements to protect your intellectual property and to monetize that, you know, that we talked before. Microsoft is talking about the plans to have monetization in place, right? But these are nowhere closer than 12 months, right, to be implemented. When we are thinking about the potential revenue split that could be in the future, we could think that this is not less than 10% if Microsoft will implement something like that. Okay, so now let us look into the consulting services, right? The beauty of the consulting service is that you do not need a code for that. You just need to build a landing page and, of course, go through all of the publishing process that we had. But in reality, you are publishing the service, you know, not the app that you have to you know, update after the releases, etc. Right? So, but the consulting, any partner can publish apps onto the AppSource as soon as they are validated and certified and complying with the technical and all of the publishment requirements. But the consulting services, they have either to be related to the app that was published, or there are eligibility requirements for the partners that are willing to publish those consulting services onto the AppSource, right? And we are looking into the validated deployment project, or certain competencies in place to get those consulting services out onto the AppSource. But when thinking about the consulting services, there are types of services that could fall under the consulting services and get onto the AppSource. So that is a briefing, assessment, proof of concept, implementation, and workshop. We covered in detail that yesterday, and I shall not repeat it here, but only I'll add that any of the consultancy services, they have to be at a fixed price or free. And they have to have a clear agenda, define deliverables, and be related to the industry and to the product, right? That is rather straightforward. Of course, the best conversion is on the free services that are out there. Though One-Click Factory's experience, we have a few of the services on the AppSource related to the upgrade assessments as such. So we see that the conversion, the better conversion for us is on the services where we have a price tag attached. And I don't know whether that is, we have a price tag attached for upgrade assessments for finance and supply chain management services, and free services for the upgrade for Business Central, free assessment services for upgrade for Business Central service. And I don't know whether the better conversion is because the finance and supply chain management customers are the customers that are having their IT organization, and therefore they are approaching AppSource, and therefore there could be more leads coming out of of that area. Or is that because there is a clear price tag, and that price tag sets an expectation of the overall condensity of the service and what you can expect and how serious this offering is. For more resources on the consultancy services and their publishment, they are available from the AppSource, where you choose sell, and then get to the details on the how to get consulting services on the AppSource. And with that, we are getting closer to the end, right? And what I do believe that we covered today is that intellectual property is one of the ways to differentiate and to increase the profitability of your organization. And within the big picture of the AppSource, I hope you see where is your journey now, whether that is to consider all of the big picture and move forward in there, or to choose just a simple path forward and add elements like, for example, channel sales management, or monetization options and pricing options later on the way as you are moving from. So if action followed knowledge, we would all have a six-packs. So I would like you to think about what action will you take. And so far, I only asked Algirdas, who volunteered to provide feedback throughout the section. And as I've seen, I was slightly behind the timeline. I was not reaching out to Zygmunt, Vitaly, and Žilvinas, who agreed to contribute to our session as well in the beginning. So now, Zygmunt, Vitaly, and Žilvinas, maybe you could share what action will you take in relation to the AppSource?
Yeah, I could add some 10 cents. First of all, any application it will be successful if it really solves some business problem for any client or for, I don't know, a lot of clients, and then only that is the first step we need to understand. It's not about just create another app, because there are millions. So, and I think that's the most focus should be on that. Does this app solve the real problem, and this problem not only for one client but for 100 million, 10 million clients? Yeah, I think that was the first challenge to think about.
Thank you very much for sharing. And I see you are nicely promoting Robots Are Here conference. So if you would like to add a link for all of us to be able to see, let us know.
Yeah, you also are speakers, One Click Factory. So it's like a mutual event will be in 12th of May. So I'll share the link too. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So Žilvinas, what the action will you take?
I know that I need to get some more knowledge about this or how it was called, application market, right? And okay, no, I need a little bit more knowledge.
Okay, yeah. Acquiring understanding, where would you like to focus, and to acquire the knowledge is a very, very good action to take. Thank you very much for sharing.
Right, because we are planning to do some steps with intellectual property, but we're not doing anything yet.
Yeah. That's having a plan is much better than having no plan.
Right.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And Vitaly, what action will you take?
First of all, I would like to say a couple of words with compliments to Agne for so understandable and clear presentation. Thank you very much. It is a really very interesting time I spent with you. To speak about us, right now, we are not a developing company, so we mostly working like IT support and consulting company. So I think mostly our interest would be to use application market like additional marketing resource. So it would be very interesting to develop maybe not very huge application. We could present some clear ideas to potential customers free of charge. And I don't know if we could be acceptable by marketplace like a consultant service company. So if we will achieve that status, so it will be our second step to the application market.
Okay, very, very nice plan as well. Thank you very much for sharing. I do hear that there is a challenge, on investing in building intellectual property or so, but one of the ways could be to understand if or what you would like to try, and focus one or two technical of your resources, for a limited time, maybe half a day per week for a 3-month period, with a goal of identifying, optimizing intellectual property that could be packaged and sold to customers within, let's say, 90 days sales period. Interestingly, not only partners developed IP, but as well they provided feedback that this was a very positive impact on their billable projects, and even higher job satisfaction from the people who got an additional assignment to look into this IP development work. Yeah. So with that, let me thank you for joining me today. If there are questions or feedback, Inga and Kasparas are your primary contact people at OneClick Factory. And I know that we have no time left, but if there would be any of the questions, I'll stay for another, let's say, 20 minutes to answer those. Thank you very much for your time. I wish you a superb weekend. And for the ones that are celebrating Easter this weekend, I wish you a superb celebration. Grill, chill, and sunbathing, just like we planned in the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Agne.